The 1929 Imperial Airways Handley page W.10 crash happened on the 17th of June, 1929, when Handley page W.10 GEBMT suffered an engine failure and subsequently ditched in the English Channel off Dungeness with the loss of 7 lives. The aircraft was operating an international scheduled flight from Croydon to Le Bourget Airport, Paris, France. The accident aircraft was Handley page W.10 GEBMT City of Ottawa, CNW10-4. It had been delivered to Imperial Airways on the 25th of December, 1925. GEBMT was operating an international scheduled flight from Croydon Airport to Zurich Airport, Switzerland via Paris, Le Bourget Airport and Basel Airport, Switzerland. Having departed from Croydon at 10:30, the aircraft was some 15 miles, 24 km, out over the English Channel, flying at an altitude of 2,500 feet, 760 m, when a connecting rod in the starboard engine broke. A mayday was broadcast by radio and the pilot attempted to divert to Lynn Airport. As he was unable to reach land, the pilot landed in the sea some 46 m, from the Belgian trawler Gabby, and 12 miles, 19 km, offshore. The nose of the aircraft dived into the water on landing. The passengers at the front of the aircraft were thrown from their seats and trapped. 4 passengers seated at the tail of the aircraft escaped, as did both crew. Gabby went to the aid of the stricken airliner and rescued the 6 survivors. The body of one of the victims was also recovered. They were transferred to the Dover pilot cutter which took them to Folkestone. The cutter entered Folkestone Harbour at 2:45 p.m. flying the signal eddy, signifying that ambulances were required, and with her red ensign at half-mast. The injured survivors were taken to the Royal Victoria Hospital, Folkestone. The body of the casualty was landed at Folkestone, but was later transferred to Lydd. Gabby recovered 3 further bodies that day. They were transferred to a motorboat owned by the Lydd postmaster and taken to a mortuary at Lydd. Gabby assisted in the salvage of the wreckage of GEBMT. The wreckage was towed to Dungeness, where a search revealed only baggage and personal belongings of the passengers. 3 victims were unaccounted for at that stage. An inquest was opened by the Lydd coroner on the 19th of June at Lydd Town Hall into the deaths of the 4 victims whose bodies had been recovered. Evidence was given that the pilot, Captain Brayley, was experienced, with 1,000 hours flying time. He had been in the employ of Imperial Airways for a year. The aircraft was shown to have been airworthy on departure from Croydon. The pilot had been the last survivor to leave the aircraft. At his insistence, all 4 victims had drowned. Verdicts of accidental death were returned in all cases. The Air Ministry opened an investigation into the accident under the Air Navigation Investigation of Accidents Regulations, 1922. The investigation opened on the 25th of June at the Royal Courts of Justice, London, with Sir Arthur Colfax in charge. The cause of the engine failure was the fracture of number 4 connecting rod in the starboard engine. The engine had run for 126 hours since its last overhaul, with the permitted time between overhauls being 300 hours. The connecting rod had failed due to the failure of the big end bearing studs. The aircraft's certificate of airworthiness had last been renewed in November 1928, and was valid for a year. Its maximum permissible load was 2,946 pounds, 1,336 kg. The aircraft's load was 2,494 pounds, 1,131 kg, on departure from Croydon. Evidence was given by 3 of the 4 surviving passengers and both crew. The 4th surviving passenger was not called as she was legally a minor at the time and had lost her father in the accident. The inquiry closed on the 3rd of July. Imperial Airways and Napier, the engine manufacturer, were cleared of any blame for the accident. The report into the investigation was published on the 12th of July. Among the recommendations were that passengers should be provided with seat belts and that aircraft not capable of maintaining level flight with an inoperative engine and not designed to land on water should be withdrawn from continental routes after the 1st of July, 1930.